Yeah. So the next point is our Process Analyser. Again, we're talking a little bit about what's coming in Adroit, what's available. The Process Analyzer is a piece of software that was initially envisaged probably 2 years ago, where we sat down, and again, I guess it's part of Jay's idea of the health service, where if anybody's tried to run plants and you get a problem, you generally have to go to 5 or 6 different places to try and figure out what happened. You have to go to your alarms, you have to go to your trends, you have to ask the operator for logs, who did what, why did you do that, and it's a lot of work to try and solve particularly historical problems. So we sat down and we workshopped the concept of what tool would be a really useful tool for customers to be able to analyze problems, and we call it the Process Analyzer for that matter. And what it does, it's a easy to use and install control. It looks at log data, it looks at alarm and event data out of the alarm management database. It looks at audit data, so who's changed set points, what changed in the PLC, that sort of data, and it summarizes it all into one single environment. It is a work in progress. So basically you've got your SCADA system, you literally drop the control down, you make sure you've got the connections to the databases there. Once you've got all the connections nicely organized, you then look at your process and you configure a data set that you're interested in. So you say, right, for this batching plant, we're going to run it live now. For this batching plant, I'm interested in the values that get put in, the temperatures, the process values, and the status of various pumps. And you say, right, these are the things I'm interested in. And when you run the analysis on it, it goes and finds the log data for all those tags. It looks at the alarm data for those tags, any events that happened around those tags. So for example, if you've changed the heater set point, it will log that, and then it'll show you someone changed the heater set point at that point in time, and then you can see the effect on the process. So once you build and you can build these as various sets of interest for you, your process guy, your mechanical guy, your electrical guy. He can build his own set of values that he wants to analyze and then use the tool to do that. And what it does, it brings into a single user interface the log data. So it amalgamates the log data, the event data when things happened in time, with alarm data at the top there, so you can see when things went into alarm, with digital data for status down here. So a motor turned on then, an alarm turned on then, the process is running then, etc. So it's and then you can filter out things very quickly to try and understand and find out and hone in on what the problem is. The next level, of course, will be to think, we were talking about this last week, about we've got this data, how do we apply machine learning and AI to this thing to literally be running these things proactively and maybe prompting users with areas to go and look. So what happened at that point in time? What was going on around it? Well, Jason always runs the plant when it fails. I'm not saying that, So I thought we'd show it to you. It is a work in progress. Diego's doing enormous amounts of work around it. It's a very complex piece of software. So I have to say that he's been very patient with John and I. But because we know what we want, and we're like, oh, why doesn't it work like this? Oh, that's not so easy to do. But what we're going to show you now is what you're seeing here is our demo on our website. So for SIs and other customers who want to go and show their customers, you can go and run this batch plant off the website as it stands right now. And it gives you a really good understanding of the capability of Adroit, the graphic capability. So this is running in our secure mobile gateway off our demo. You just have to register and you can run it. So you can go and do demos to customers. And we're adding more and more to this in order to enable you to demonstrate stuff to customers. Our sales guys, for example, you can enable Adroit Air on here because they obviously registered. If they want to go and show customers, they can go to a customer site, literally create alarms, they can show the stuff working. Otherwise, you're always kind of not being able to show it. And if you're interested in that and you want to go and show customers, talk to us. We just add you to the project, and you can go and show customers. So John, this is just a simple batching plant. It has 2 ingredients, some water. It stirs it for a time, and it heats it up. So very simple process, and discharges it. Oh, you haven't been running it? Okay. Sorry?
You can pull some historical data.
Okay, so it might be okay, let's go and do some historical data. So it runs 4 ingredients: peach, pear, grape, and apple, in random sequences, and runs these things. And we've injected a problem into a process. Normally you get alarms, because we also use this for our training, for our alarm management software. So we create alarms in order to analyze them. But you can see what's happening at the bottom. This is the batch weight, and all it's doing, you can see that's fairly consistent. If you look at the bottom, you'll see it fills, it stays stationary while it mixes and heats, and then it discharges. So you can see this graph at the bottom here. That's. But again, you have no context. Your operators are just running this automatically. It's mixing different products. It's batching them, pushing them out into the filling plant, and off you go. And you'll see. Okay, so John, we don't know when the problem's coming, so we'll just go to some history. So we just click on Process Analyser. We've got it installed here. You'll see that it defaults. We've created a log set based on what I've told you, those variables inside the batching plant. You can see that I'm healthy with all my connections here. And John's just going to analyze the last probably 30 minutes. Or I don't know how long you've had data for. Okay, we'll try an hour. Okay, so you can see we didn't run the process for a long time. But the point being, okay, we were getting, this is the logic we're trying to sell here. We saw that there were, we get batch cycle time alarms, but we're not getting discharge alarms. Why are we getting batch cycle time alarms? John, do you want to zoom in? It's not ideal. You have to press. Sorry, lots is going on. We didn't remember to run. We were supposed to be running this while we were talking. Maybe you go back, John, even. And then you can filter out by selecting what do you want to see, data logs or no data logs. So, yeah, maybe go from 8 to 9. But what we're going to show you is that a typical situation is you have a KPI monitoring and you're supposed to be running 14 or 16 batches an hour. Suddenly you're not making those. Why? Why aren't I making those? And you'll see very quickly, there we go, there, thanks John. So normally you would go to the trends and you would, the process trends, and it would be showing you that, what is the spike, John? What is the spiky one?
Discharge.
Okay, so you can see suddenly the discharge time is going up at spikes. And you wonder, well, what the hell's happening there? You can also see that the cycle time, we get a batch cycle time along. So you can click on there and it'll highlight where you've got it. You can see it's happened every single time after one of those batches have run. So now you obviously sort of start thinking, well, what the hell's going on here? And at the bottom here, we're showing when we're running some product. So typically you would then you would switch off and say, well, yeah, is it a product problem, for example? So you can then start switching off various trends that you want to see, and you'll very quickly see that in fact it's pear. When I'm running pear, you'll see that I'm getting the problem. Not when I'm running apple or peach. It's when I'm running pear. You can see it happens every single time. So obviously that's a problem, and I go in here and I think, well, why am I getting a discharge alarm? It's because, but I'm not getting the alarm itself here. There must be something wrong with the product. And typically that's when you would identify the problem, bring in the process guys, ask what happened, and in this scenario, all we have to do is heat up the temperature another 3 degrees, and then suddenly this goes away. Because it was obviously something with the ingredients that happened, and if John now just changed the ingredient or the heating cycle by up to 25, you would see that it will run through and in fact show you that those problems go away. So it's a comprehensive view. If you go back to the Process Analyser, John. So you can then click through and see, this gives you the trends and the alarms. Then the next tab gives you the audits. So did you change the temperature, John? So you can see in here that you've changed the value, and I've changed, someone changed, the admin changed the temperature set point. And so again, it just gives you an idea that when I change the set point, maybe you can play with some stuff. That's when you influence the process itself. Okay, cool. That's fine. And if you run it now, you'll see that we won't have that problem. So you can see here the smart UI audit. Someone in the operator changed the heater set point at that time, and they changed it from 23 to 28 to 26. And then you'll see, in fact, the process has gone away. And that's when you would adjust your recipe or whatever you need to do to bring the process in line. So again, I think you can do lots with this. You can see the reasons and the notes in the database. You can show the chart labels. There's lots of stuff you can do. And you can save it to an image. So when you found a problem, you can just click Save to Image, take that, send it to your boss and say, listen, I think I found this problem. It's taking shape. We're going to run it on some customers, some real challenges, and let's see how they use it. And I think the most exciting thing is this next level where we apply some AI to this data in this context to try and find those sorts of problems without the guy even doing this analysis, because it's all sitting here. And how do we do that? Not my problem.
Yeah. Apparently it's my problem.
What do you think? Interesting. It's available now. If you want to go and play it and put it on your customer sites, I would say give us another month or so when we sort of round it around. But it will be available soon, and we are targeting Adroit 11 for next year for full release of this, and we'll just see where we go from there. Right, last little push before we hit a comfort break. So we've showed you a little bit about what the potential in the world is. We've showed you what we're doing in Adroit, where we're going with Adroit 11, all focused on trying to leverage this thing called the cloud and the tools available to in the cloud. We have, in the last 2 years, started a division called Digital Services. It's a spin-off out of our support department, and that's to focus our efforts on delivering digital transformation for customers. We still a lot of customers in the automation industry lag a little bit behind. So we're there to say, guys, we understand our technology, we can take this journey with you. And that is headed up by Hugo Pinar, who is with Johan. People have asked me why Johan is not here. He's on his way back from Brazil. It looks like one of our great global customers is Maxi on Wheels. And they were at a plant down in Brazil with Amazon. In fact, looking at part of us, we'll be their partner on their process plants to get real-time data into the cloud with their partner who does all the analytics. So they're actually on the way back from Brazil as we speak. So I'm going to talk just about what this business does. So digital services itself, which sits across in that building, sort of a bit of a crossover between support and dev, if you want to. And what they do is we've given them the products to sell. That's the secure mobile gateway, because it's sort of a lot of internet digital stuff. The Adroit Edge gateway would be going through them in terms of support, because it's a different level of support, certainly. We do standard reporting and analytics with Adroit. in the cloud as we speak. We are actually using the edge technology, albeit it's not finished. We like to eat our own food, if we want to, before we give it to customers to eat. So we are actually using this stuff. Configuration is manual, while these guys sort of get the UI side sorted out. They also do our own environmental management system. As you know, those in the mining industry, we've got a product, our EMS, which talks to all the different types of sensors. They also do the alarm management product. Everything that sits above Adroit, the SCADA intelligence, the edge devices will be available through them, and the IoT devices. And then from a services perspective, we are doing quite a lot of work in digital consulting. So a customer comes to us and said, help me get here. What are we going to do? What's the right way of approaching this? We can help them from that perspective, as well as implementations. A lot of some of the larger SIs and some smaller SIs have these skills and this technology capability, and we will then assist them themselves. So we work with partners and directly with customers around implementing this. And then they obviously do reporting solutions, AMA and OEE type stuff. So their job is really to take production and real-time data into the cloud, so machines to the edge and beyond, if you want to. So to let you know, we will be the Edge Gateway is a licensed product. It's probably it's going to be licensed by how many I/O points you want to put in the cloud, because you won't be putting your whole SCADA in the cloud for sure, but you may want to put 60 points or 100 points or 500 points. You will then license. The gateway will be licensed, and we've done it through that. I'm going to go into that. That's just a bit of adoption strategy. If you want to, you've got to consume the device, you've got to set up the platform and ingest the stuff, and then you've got to be able to build the dashboards, analytics. That's just a slightly different representation of it. Just to highlight what Jay was speaking about, these are the plugins on our microservice, which then pushes it to third-party applications. This is the beginning of the UI in terms of setting up those services. Again, a lot of this work's been done in conjunction between Jay and the digital services guy, where you'll say, literally, I want to go to Azure IoT Hub. You'll configure that guy, and you'll say, I want to configure that device and that tag into that endpoint. So you'll be able to send data into different systems that can consume that data, literally by configuration. And you can see by point and click, you'll be able to do this. And whether it's our infrastructure, we are busy setting up our own infrastructure. So literally next year, you'll say, I want to be able to put all these trends and these motors and these statuses, and I'll select Adroit that you'll pay us a yearly basis, set it up, go into our cloud, and we will give you those tools to be able to visualize that data in the cloud. You set up your cloud provider, you route your endpoint, you'll see the data coming in. This is typically what you are looking at in the cloud. This is the ingestion point, if you want to. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make it look easy. So as our standard offering, we obviously won't be building these things is quite complex. It's not as trivial and easy as you think. But the basic stuff we will supply off the shelf will be things like time series. And to be able to put a motor status on, for example, and see how many times that's turned on, turned off, get some basic reporting going. So literally off the shelf, available anywhere in a browser. In this case, we have partnered with a company called Oculus. It's a crowd that's 10 years old, based out of Centurion. Lovely guys. I was at the launch of their new version last night, and very smart. So these are the visualization tools on top of the data that we'll be sending into the cloud as part of our standard offering. These are just some of the stuff that we've done, even on mobile, to prove some points. You can see production reports. And again, we can build more comprehensive reports ourselves, and we will be teaching our partners to be able to do that. Again, these are all standard dashboards, and we're going to demonstrate that right now that it's actually working, and then we're going to take a break. So please be a bit patient. These are some dashboards we've built off that standard web demo that we've got of the batching plant. We'll show you how that works now. We can do modeling. Alvin spoke about the modeling. We're starting to understand that AI world, the modeling world, and some customers are asking us to help them from that perspective. And then we can do some advanced analytics. So we've got that capability. And just before we stop, John is just going to launch. We've got our demo working. This is the dashboard that we've got in the cloud using Oculus. It shows you, there's the product that you've made. So they've got a really sexy front end to be able to present data if you want to. You can see this shows you on a daily basis what you've manufactured. That's the real-time data. This is a representation of bottles that I think are bottled. And if John runs the demo, you'll see that sitting. So if you run the plant, we are batching. So you can see that we are batching now. We'll just complete one. I think we're also filling. So there we complete the batch, and then we'll start the batch again. So it just cycles through this. And if you refresh that, which is the one you're going to see, John?
It's now 271.
So it's now 271. So at the end of that batch, we're using our edge gateway, pushing the data into the cloud, and we are reporting off this. And typically, this is not real time. You want to, these are for dashboards, so you're refreshing these every couple of minutes, and you can see it. We went to 271, but it's pretty instantaneous. So the cloud itself is, you saw how quick that MQTT was. The dashboards, and the analytics you can get from this are actually quite remarkable in terms of the ML, the modeling, which we can offer services around.